podcast. I'm Tosh.
And I'm Jenna, and we are excited to have another guest with us in studio for her first time this week. I am thrilled to introduce you to Pauline Axford. Hello.
Hi there.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having me.
And we invited you here for a topic that we've been wanting to talk about for a while and have been like, oh, how do we do this? Because neither of us have done any big trips with our kids. But you are quite used to traveling with your children and kind of sharing your journeys.
Yes.
So, can you tell us just a little bit about you and your family first to start?
Sure. So I was born and brought up in Scotland, so I have a bit of an accent. And my husband is from Kamloops in British Columbia. So we actually met when he was on his first solo trip to Europe.
Oh,
he was
wow.
working at a campsite, and I went traveling there with my friend, and that's how we met. So yeah, we've done lots of different trips, just as like a couple, independently, and then our son was born in Glasgow in Scotland, and then when he was 2 years old, we immigrated to Canada. We moved to Alberta, and then our daughter Jane was born, and then we decided to move all the way from Alberta to New Brunswick. So we packed up the 2 kids, the dog. We did a 6-week camping trip across Canada.
Wow.
And yeah, so we're here now, and we're exploring the Maritimes, just loving these provinces. And yeah, we do lots of other trips as well, that we don't just stick to the Maritimes.
So first off, though, you did a camping trip across Canada with like a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old.
No, they were a little bit older than that. They might have
Look
been
at the pictures.
3 and 7, I think they were.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
And a dog.
And a dog. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, for 6 weeks in a tent.
In a tent. You are brave. And that's just the beginning of your travels.
Those are local. Yeah.
That cross Canada trip, that was just local.
Yeah, that's kind of the small one for us. Yeah.
Excellent. So how long have you been in the Maritimes now?
2 years.
2 years. Okay.
Mhm.
Excellent.
Yes. So maybe Jane was 2 actually.
Yeah.
It was a 2-year-old.
So part of the reason that you did that epic camping trip is because you guys really have like a philosophy about
do.
traveling.
Yeah. When we travel, we really try to embrace the slow travel philosophy. So it's kind of is where you really try to simplify your experience. You try to slow down. Don't squeeze too much into your vacation, and really try to get, I'm going to say this in air quotes, an authentic experience. We do resorts and things like that, but quite often we like to go off resort. We like to eat local food, we like to stay with locals, we like to make friends with the locals. It's really amazing because you get to experience so many different things when you do that, and meeting people is one of the best things about traveling. So we have found, through just chatting to locals, we've found great restaurants, secret waterfalls, secret hikes through rainforests. There was this one time we were chatting to somebody, and they told us about these ancient ruins up in a mountain somewhere, and we went off to visit them. They weren't in the guidebook.
Wow.
So when you really take the time to get to know people as part of your experience, then it just makes it so much better. So, yeah.
And how has that worked with the kids? Because I can kind of envision how that would work if you're on your own or you're a couple, but then you mix in little kids.
Yeah.
So you're still able to pull that off, which amazes me.
Well, you have to be relaxed. You have to know that schedules are going to be a little off. Bedtimes get stretched. We wake up a little bit earlier. Sometimes we need to take a day off to just have a snooze. So even if you're in a resort, you don't have to sign up for excursions every single day, because your kids will be exhausted. So if you're doing a trip like that, you don't have to do it the second that somebody tells you, but you can plan it if you've got the time, if you haven't planned every single day of your trip. So you're just being more relaxed and simplifying it and being open to those experiences. Even when you have kids, it's still totally feasible. Sometimes you need to pare it back a little, maybe not do the 5-hour hike up the mountain
Right.
with a kid, right? But there's still lots of things that the kids can do.
So now I'm curious, once you moved out, or I suppose, did you do any big international trips before you moved to the Maritimes?
Well, with the kids?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with the kids, the very first one we did actually was when we came from Glasgow to Vancouver, which is a 9-hour flight with a 5-month-old baby. So that was kind of a baptism by fire.
Yeah.
it was actually remarkably straightforward. There's pros and cons for each age group, right? When you're traveling with them. So when they're tiny little babies, it's pretty straightforward. They're not mobile. They, you know, I was nursing, so snacks were on board.
Yeah.
So yeah, like it's pretty straightforward. I think the worst one was when Caleb was 2. It was actually when we were immigrating here, and we thought we'd been extra clever and not bought seats, a seat for him. You know, so you save money if they're under 2 years old. You don't have to pay for the seat.
Right.
And we thought we'd been extra clever, but the flight was full. The flight was delayed. He was very tired, very cranky. There was no seats, so I had to kind of try and restrain him on our lap for 9 hours. So
Oh my gosh.
At that age.
At that age, yeah.
Not the little 5-month-old
Right.
anymore.
And
Yeah.
there's a sweet spot, right? Like when they're really little, they don't move much, and when they get older, you can reason with them. But toddlers hit that really nice spot in the middle where they're active and not logical.
Yes.
So you just
Yes.
can't reason with them. But that was probably the peak. That was the worst. And then after that, it got easier, and yeah. So
I fly my kids to Ontario once a year, sometimes twice a year, and I can remember when you think, oh yeah, no, I can do a 3-year-old and a 1-year-old
Yeah.
on my own, no big deal, and only have 2 seats.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I really
You're
cut back
crazy.
my trips home. I really, once the
Right.
second kid came into the picture, and then once you have to pay for everybody's
It gets
seats,
expensive.
whew,
Yeah.
yeah, forget it.
For sure.
Yeah.
So what are some of the other trips you've done with the kids?
With the kids, they've mostly been transatlantic ones. So, you know, with me being from Scotland and Brian being from BC, we've had to nip back and forth. So, yeah, most of them, but those are long flights, long flights. We are going to Cuba a week on Friday.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah.
that's kind of...
Countdown's on.
Yeah, that's going to be the first time that we're taking our kids to a really different, exotic kind of place. So everything else, I think kind of mundane, like, oh, we've been to Scotland, whatever.
Yeah, I would give anything to go to Scotland, but yes, yeah, I understand.
We've done England, we've done Scotland, we've done the States, we've done Canada. Nothing that I would consider really out there. So this is going to be the first time that we push them and do a different cultural experience.
Now, have you two done Cuba before? Or is it your first time going
it's
as
our
well?
first time as well, yeah.
Okay, cool. So
Yeah.
then you guys can all go off the resort.
Yeah.
Are you staying on a resort?
Nope.
And then no, okay.
Not at all.
Yep.
No, we're staying in Havana in
Okay.
an Airbnb in Havana.
Awesome.
We've got it booked. We're already chatting with the host. She seems really, really lovely. So we're already getting insider tips
Yeah.
and places to go and things to do. So yeah, it's really exciting.
And talk to us a little bit about getting the kids prepared for this different type of adventure, right? It's one thing to get them prepared for like, oh, we're going to go home to see family and oh, it's a long flight, but this is like an adventure.
Yeah, I think one of the things we do whenever we travel is we always, you know, we get the guidebooks out, we read up ourselves, but for the kids, you know, we show them videos. We watched Coco the other night. It's Halloween, it works.
Yeah.
But there's loads of Spanish in Coco. So at the end of it, they're all gracias, hola. You know, like they were picking these things up and was pointing it out as the movie was going by. So they're feeling more confident with a small amount with the language.
Yes. Yeah.
Havana used to be Pirate Central, so my oldest Caleb is super excited to walk down the streets of Havana and see the forts and imagine that he's in Pirates of the Caribbean. It's one of his favourite Lego games. So for him, like, that's a big hook. My daughter just wants to go to the beach. She's me through and through. So.
Oh yes, I love that.
Any
love
beach,
that.
anywhere.
Yeah. So no,
absolutely.
we watch videos, we pull the maps out, we try to make it a real experience for them.
So now you said in a week, so they're being pulled out of school.
Yes.
How do you deal with the being out of school when it's not March break or Christmas break or what have you?
Well, the youngest is kindergarten.
Okay.
So it's not too stressful.
Yeah.
The oldest is third grade, sorry, not 3. So maybe when they're older, I'll worry more about that. But
Yeah.
right now, I'm not too concerned. We do homework at home. I have a pretty good feeling of where they are academically, and I'm not overly concerned. And their teachers are not concerned. So.
Oh, well, that's good.
Their teacher
That's-
actually,
yeah.
kindergarten teacher is actually helping us. We're taking a little bag of humanitarian aid to donate to a local school, and so we've got in touch with our youngest kindergarten class, and the teacher is helping the kids to collect items to put into this bag, stories and pictures to share with the kids in Havana. So the school's actually really supportive.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Mhm.
Oh, what a fun way to incorporate, you know, one classmate's adventure into something that they're all part of.
Right.
Oh, that's amazing.
And it
Yeah.
kind of embraces that idea of slow travel, of you know, you're not separating yourself on a resort. You're getting involved in the community. That it humanizes these experiences for the kids too, which I think is really important.
Yeah, definitely. It's a whole different way of learning that my kids are probably never going to see, right? So it's nice if they can be in that classroom, and then when she gets back to school, you know, she's got all those stories to tell, and you could send her with pictures or what have you, right? So, yeah.
We're hoping we can maybe get a little pen pal thing going on with the class that we donate with, so they can share ideas and stories.
Oh, wow, that's very cool.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fantastic. And
Yeah.
it's such a different way for the kids to get to understand about travel, and that it's not just, you know, big expensive trips to Disney
Right.
or,
Mhm.
you know, that
You're
kind of...
spending all your money and your whole vacation, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that it, I think it seems, to me, I don't know if I would have thought the same way when I was a kid, but it feels like it would seem more accessible, right? Like, when I was growing up, I knew, like, one person who went to Disney. Like, that was not
Yeah, yeah.
something people did. Now it seems much more common. I live in a different place in a different time, and so it still seems inaccessible, though, to a lot of people.
Travel in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So even though this is a big trip to, you know, it's an international trip, talking about it in those terms and connecting those kids with people makes it seem so much more accessible than some big trip.
And
Yeah.
I think that accessibility, like it comes from a younger place as well. Like when I was a kid, my parents didn't have the money to take us to Disneyland. All of our vacations were done in Scotland, and I remember them being amazing because my parents took the time to engage us in the vacation. We usually just camped, but we would take little side roads and find ourselves in little villages and things like that. We would do it on the weekends. We would do it after school. We would just go out and have these little mini adventures. So the idea that travel is accessible, I kind of learned at a young age. And it didn't have to be a super exotic vacation. It can be just finding out what's in your own backyard. And I think it's the same for my kids. We've done a lot of safe locations lately, and inside Canada and the UK and the States. But they do it so often that going to Cuba to them is not, I don't think they see it as a big step, a big
Right.
exotic jump. It's just going away again.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So how often do you get them home to Scotland?
Not often.
Not as much as
Maybe-
you'd like. As,
No, not quite. I like going back, but we've done it a million times.
Yeah.
So we went back, was it last summer? Yeah, it was last summer we went back. And it was the first time my son had been back since he was born there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So he was 2 when we left, and he was 7 or 8 when we went there. But it was really cool actually because I got to show him my favourite things of when I was growing up, when I was that age. All of those places my parents took me to, we got to show that to the kids. Jane was a little young, but Caleb really got involved in it. But we try not to go back to the same place too often. We try to go do new things. And
So for long flights like that, what are your travel tips for parents? Like, what do you pack anything? Like, you see these things that they're like hammock for your feet and all this stuff. Like,
yeah.
like what do you pack?
As light as possible.
Okay.
Because airports are stressful, and the worst thing about being in an airport is having 5 bags, pulling the little carry-on case, and then your kid wants to be carried, right? You know that feeling of just being weighed down by it all. And you get hot, it's heavy, it's not fun. So pack light, but pack extra underwear. Diapers and wipes. So whatever you are going to pack, make sure you get those. But then after that, try to keep it down, keep it as low as possible. Even when we travel anywhere, we've got it down to 1 backpack and 1 little carry-on roll-on suitcase each. That's it.
Nice.
All we take.
Nice.
You'd be amazed at how little you can actually get away with. We never check luggage. It's the worst thing to check luggage because it just adds on all that time, all that stress, all that kind of stuff. You want to simplify it as much as possible. If you call your airline, you'll find that there are a whole bunch of things that they can do to help parents. So you know how often they'll charge you to pick your seats?
Yeah.
Well, if you've got kids under 12, they can't actually charge you for it. They shouldn't. And as
Where's
of,
my pen?
as of December, that's actually
Yeah.
going to be the law. that the airlines have to provide free family seating for children under 12. So, if you call them up and you ask them, then they'll tell you these things, right? But, so yeah, be aware of that. Contact your airline, find out what they can do to make this easier for you. But no, I don't tend to pack those gimmicky little things because it's just more to carry at the end of the day, right? I do take a nice travel pillow for sleeping or for resting if it's going to be a long flight. For the kids, we always go to the dollar store and we pick up those little activity books and then we hide them. They don't get to see them until they're sitting on the plane, which keeps them amused for quite a while. And when they're younger, you want to try and get activities that you can stretch out for as long as possible. So when they're little, snack time, you maybe want them to eat as quickly as possible. But when you're on the plane, you want to do the opposite. You want that to take as long as it can. So having like little tubes of Cheerios that they really need to go in and fish for, right? Or crunchy carrot sticks that takes them ages to chew through. You don't want anything they pop in their mouth and swallow and it's done. Like you need to stretch every single activity out for as long as you can.
I don't think I ever would have thought of the snacks that way of like, I'm going to make this so hard for
Yes.
you so long.
It's one of those dog treat balls that they have to shake to get everything out of.
And they probably would think it was awesome.
Yeah, it keeps them amused, it keeps them entertained, it keeps them quiet, and it keeps them in their seat.
And that works in the car too, right?
Yes.
Like you do long road trips with the kids.
Yes.
So that's you could go both ways on that one for sure. Instead of I do the usual look out the window. I always looked out the window when I was a kid. Count how many cows are out there. Yeah, and it does not work in the plane. Does it? Yeah.
No, not for very long. No.
No.
I think it's like you've got to manage expectations too, right? You've got to manage your kids' expectations. So actually that very first flight we went with Caleb, I remember there was a parent there with a little 4-year-old, and at one point the kid put her stuff away, just put her head down and fell asleep. And I remember saying to the dad, how did you do that? What magic did you just do, right? And he said, you know what, we just manage our expectations. We tell her there's a big time difference. We need them to sleep, otherwise they're a nightmare when they get off the plane. So he said, we just told her, you're going to do this, and then you're going to put your head down. I didn't think it would work, but we do it now. It works.
Wow.
It's amazing. You're really clear. We're on the plane. This is the way it goes. And you can kind of make it like, it's not my rule, this is the plane's rule.
Yeah.
Right?
You blame it on anybody else but yourself. Yes, I get that.
Like, this is the way it works. But then also manage your own expectations, particularly when they're really little. You'll know yourself if you've flown with them. They will cry. Their little ears hurt, their little tummies hurt. And be okay with that. You know, like there might be people tutting, but most people just feel sorry for you.
Yeah.
And just calm down and try and comfort your kids. So kids' expectations and your own expectations need to be reasonable.
I have a friend who flies back to England fairly often.
Yeah.
And one of her tricks with her kids who are still young is that idea of like, you need to sleep on this flight. Yeah. So when we get to the airport, you change into your pajamas.
Yes,
just like that,
like
get into your pajamas so that it starts to get it in their mind that, oh yeah, I'm going to go to sleep.
Yeah.
Whatever time it is.
Like,
oh,
doesn't
the
matter.
jammies are on.
Yeah.
All right.
And they'll take their little blanket or their little stuffy and like make sure you go through. And sometimes we even bring a little bedtime story to read to them just to keep that routine there so that they sleep. Because you need them to sleep. Otherwise life's not really worth living. So.
Yeah. Not worth living. Love it. That's what the furthest I've gone is home to Toronto, and I get off that plane sometimes and my mom's meeting me there and I'm just like, take them, please take them. And this past summer was the first time that Erin walked through the Toronto airport without being on my back. I always wore her.
Yeah.
So trying to herd these 2 stray cats through the airport was ridiculous.
Airports are stressful.
Yeah, man, I get the leashes on kids.
Yes.
I get it.
Yeah. Sometimes it's necessary.
Yeah.
But I think just the less you have to carry, because you're pretty much guaranteed to have to carry your kid at some point.
Yes.
So you don't want to have everything else with you. So pack light is probably my biggest tip. But bring lots of wipes.
Doesn't matter how old your kids are either. Wipes are a necessity.
There will be bodily fluids stories. There will be lots.
Or sticky food or
sticky
whatever.
Fingers.
Yeah.
Or some surface you're just like, oh, no. Yeah, like I am not a germaphobe, but every now and then I'm like, okay.
Yeah. How many people have sat in this seat or crammed themselves in this tiny little bathroom?
Yes. Yeah, I think that one will be a tricky one for my kids when we finally manage to get them on a flight is the washroom.
Oh, the washroom's a bit of a nightmare. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not like a regular stall where you can go in with them.
No.
Like, you really kind of have to, like, here you go, figure it out.
Well, again, when
Yeah.
you're traveling with a 2-year-old, that you can't.
Yep.
So you have to, and there are tricks, you know, if toilet seat down, kid goes up, and you kind of have to plan it a little bit in advance how you're going to actually fit in there.
I have changed Aaron on the change table in the bathroom while Sarah used the toilet underneath in
Right.
that tiny little bathroom.
Right.
Oh, I was like, yeah. I walked out of that bathroom and all the parents were like, what? How did you get 3 people in that bathroom? Never have I done it again. Never. So
Well, they're a little
like,
bit bigger now, maybe a little bit harder.
yeah. Now Sarah's allowed to go by herself. I'm like, you're 7. I can see you.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's nowhere for you to go. out
Exactly.
there.
Right.
Exactly. And they're tiny planes from here to Ontario, right? So the big plane will be a fun new experience. Well, not for your kids, but it would be for mine someday if I ever take them anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah, they should be okay with that, yeah.
Yeah. And bigger planes make it, I feel like it would make it a bit easier because
Yeah,
you
you
have a
feel
tad
like-
more room, right?
Yeah, you feel a little less cramped.
Yeah.
But I try to encourage them to stay in their seats as much as possible. When they're really small, yeah, like you can do going up and down the aisle, but now that they're older, mine's are a bit better.
Yeah.
They can sit there. And you know, we let them watch TV for 5 hours.
Oh,
in a
yeah.
row.
Yeah.
Again, those expectations, they just kind of have to come down a little bit.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah,
One
do what
final
you can.
question before we go, because I've seen parents do it and I never have. Did you ever bring the car seats on the
Yes.
plane and put them in the seats?
Yeah.
Did-
No, not on the seats.
Not on the
sorry,
seats,
no.
okay.
But we would pack them into the hold. Our car seats been all over the world.
Yeah.
So yeah, we would always pack our car seat into the hold with the stroller as well.
Okay.
But no, we never bothered putting it on the plane. Some planes won't let you.
Oh,
Some
okay.
airlines won't let you.
Yeah.
Some are okay with it. I've never
Just
really
never
found
thought of it. Yeah.
necessary.
Yeah. I wondered the same because some parents do it and I just,
Yeah, I think a lot of research about the airline is needed for that
yeah,
one.
Yeah.
that I've
definitely.
seen.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah,
We're going to have to wrap it up,
Yeah.
but before we go, you share so many of your travels online. You have the most beautiful Instagram account.
Thank you.
So why don't you tell everyone how they can follow along and see what happens in Cuba?
Yeah, well, our tag is Dobney's Adrift, so that's our family name, Dobney's. And like I say, we've drifted across Canada, we've drifted across the Atlantic, and we just love traveling. So yeah, we put our pictures up there of all of our little trips around the Maritimes as well. So we really try to post lots about these wonderful provinces. We'll be putting lots on about Cuba. On our Facebook, you get kind of the same idea, but we share some more links and things. The resources that we actually use when we're planning a trip, we'll post them onto
Cool.
our Facebook so that people can see what goes into planning these kind of vacations. So,
Awesome.
yeah,
Awesome.
just Dobney's Adrift.
Awesome. Love it. Thank you so much.
Yes, thanks for coming in, and I can't wait to follow along.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.